Welcome back, everyone. We got another great guest on our show today. His name is Enzo. He owns a company called ITX Solutions. We're going to get more into what that's all about with his company. But good morning, Enzo. How you doing?
Hey, Didier, good morning. Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Like I said, man, I love that background. It's your office, but it's very soothing. It's so
Yeah.
awesome. And I know you mentioned you like to have a soothing environment. So everybody, for our listeners, my name is Didi. I'm your host today, and we're going to be going behind the scene and speaking to Enzo about his business and learning. This show is all about learning about businesses and what shape our communities and discovering how to make the most of their services. And with that being said, if you like this video, please feel free to comment, subscribe. Um, Said we're going to dive right in and learn a little bit about Enzo's background. So, Enzo, welcome to the show again. And if you can tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, thank you again, Didier, for having me. So my name's Enzo Zenuni. I'm the owner and CEO of ITX Solutions and actually a few other companies. But for today's show, ITX Solutions originally started off as a business where we were consulting other businesses in regards to their telecommunication services, whether that was fiber internet, doing dark fiber, which I can explain a little bit later on, VoIP services for businesses, and then eventually just grew into becoming this larger umbrella company that offers those services now directly in-house to our clients.
Interesting. And when I was looking at your website, I like how you just brought it down to simple. It's the smart zero cost way to source IT. Basically, your kind of your positioning statement. And if you go dig a little deeper, talks about your business is the heart of everything you do. It can be the difficult time to find time to research, select, purchase, and manage new technology. And that's pretty powerful, especially in today's environment where technology is so important, correct?
Right. No, exactly. And when you're starting up a business, and I think everybody's been there, it's you're trying to figure out what is needed to really operate efficiently so you can get the job done and most importantly, generate revenue. When it comes to the technology aspect, a lot of businesses usually get either confused or very overwhelmed on what they need. Some go extremely bare bones and encounter a lot of issues, wondering why certain aspects of their technology is not working, and then others will just go completely overkill, which is nice, but you're wasting money on things that's completely unnecessary. And that's where we come in. So originally, as we were doing consulting, now we offer those solutions in house. We offer managed IT in house, VoIP in house, and even merchant processing. But we've simplified it for our clients because the best way to think about it is if there's a medical issue that you have, for example, within your body, maybe you have a cut or a broken arm, are you going to spend the time researching it, trying to figure it out, how to fix and repair yourself? And maybe the issues that might even cause more issues doing it, as opposed to just going to the doctor, getting it checked out and getting the proper treatment and getting things done correctly.
And from an expert. That's absolutely well stated. I like that. And when you're talking about, it's kind of diagnosing, right? Using the word diagnosis or diagnosing. So let's talk about maybe one or two of your services that are pretty high on your list. Anything stand
Yeah,
out?
yeah, absolutely. So we launched a new program called ITX Campus Connect, and it mainly caters towards schools. So we don't just service schools; we service all kinds of different industries, in the medical, attorneys, engineers, restaurants. But schools have been having I would say, a special place in our hearts lately, just because we've been finding out, specifically private and charter schools, they don't have the necessary technology in place to continue to provide, more modern, up to date educational content and resources to their students and staff. So what ITX Campus Connect does is it offers a school the overhaul on the technology aspect for their network solutions, cybersecurity, firewall, switches, Wi-Fi, completely financed in-house over a certain term agreement, which is very cost effective, as opposed to for a school having to come out of their budget 30, 40, $50,000. It's a, affordable couple $100 a month, which is tagged into their MSP cost as well.
So, and speaking with know, when you're talking about technology and transitioning from what a business is currently using, if they're using anything, to transition over to your platform, if that's the right word, is that something that's pretty easy to do for those business owners out there?
It can. So for the business owner, in a sense, there's not that much involvement. We really take over a lot of the hard work and the elbow grease is going to be put into place. We like to use our own products and solutions, mainly because it's not for the revenue aspect, but it's mainly for the support and experience aspect. Because if we're using a hodgepodge of a setup that's got different types of products and brands that are
Mhm.
implemented into it, it becomes very difficult to not just support, but when there is an issue, the means to get back up and running is a lot longer, just because you're having to figure out these different types of brand products and different types of technology. So we use our own stuff that we've been, whether it's schools, medical clinics, whatever it is, it's the same setup. It's in a way almost cookie cutter, but it works extremely well. It's a unified system from Ubiquiti. We'll also use some Cisco gear as well, or Sophos if the client has a request for it. But it allows us most of the time, I would say, when a client does call in to get support, usually the issue is resolved within 15 minutes. And that's just because we're able to jump on so quickly.
So, if with that being said, I guess those are some valuable things you said in reference to what sets you apart from your competitors, right?
Yeah, so we heavily invest into our clients. It's a big risk, but we invest into our clients a lot. And the reason why is it not only is a better experience for the client, but it makes our job so much easier. So, what would require the size that we currently have, we would probably require a team 2, 3 times bigger than what we currently are to support our clients. But because of the technology that we use, we can be
Mhm.
efficient in that manner, and we don't have to have such a large team.
So, what trends are there any trends? Because every business has trends that are shaping their industry. Anything that stands out for your business?
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's the same thing that applies to every other business today. It's AI. I mean, AI is completely changing the game. There's no question about it. It's even changing the way that we interact with each other. I've seen so many times where it's two people on both ends interacting with each other using AI in the sense of like, how do I respond to this email? And by the time that email's done, you find out it's just been two AIs that's been communicating with each other, but with human interaction on the back end trying to operate it.
So, how is that let's go into that. That's a big subject right now. Can you expand a little bit more on artificial intelligence and how it plays out?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that was a good example too. But is there anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people are scared about AI taking jobs, and I don't think that's really the case. I think if you look back at time in history, telephone operators, for example,
Hmm.
there's these people who sit in a big room flipping switches back and forth, and now it's done completely autonomously by a system, right? There's no really not that many telephone operators, at least from what I've seen today. So AI is kind of going to be doing the same thing, and really is taking away the mundane task work that, in a way, if you think about it, it just kind of kills your inner spirit because you're just doing the same thing over and over again. It's very monotonous. Where AI will be able to take care of that type of work and allow us as humans to be more creative, right? Be more in touch with ourselves, just have more creative juices flowing and enjoying the work that we do. So I'm sure nobody wants to sit there and just move a lever up and down all day. It's quite boring.
No, that makes sense. And I guess the human element, like you said, you're always going to need that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
To get back to that, to the human element, you can't remove it, right? If you remove it, then what do you have? You have nothing
Nothing.
at that point. Yeah, and at the end, I actually used to work for a company where we did automation processing, and it involved a lot of AI, and there was still a human element that needed to manually validate things, right? You can have the smartest software out there, but again, you got to understand the software is trying to adapt to humans.
Correct.
So we're constantly evolving, and so does that software. That AI has to also constantly be evolving, and who has to teach it? We do. So I think it's going to make our lives better. I think it's going to make our lives easier. There are some scary components to it if you think of it in the Skynet type of way from the movie Terminator. But everything that's good is also bad. So it's just the right amount of dosages, I would say.
Very good. Very well stated. So, we do have business people who are wanting to become business owners, entrepreneurs, those that are business owners. Any advice, what say you on keeping that needle moving forward for those who want to be business owners or those who are business owners and are maybe struggling at this time?
Yeah, I mean, so I heard a quote, or read a quote, just about maybe 2, 3 years ago, and it said, "Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you going." And you got to find a way to be disciplined. You also have to find a way to be able to delegate, because if you're constantly doing everything, you're wearing all these hats, you're going to eventually get burnt out, and you're going to lose that fire, that passion that you originally had. So, I think as a business owner, I had to do this recently. I had to sit down and really figure out, what am I really good at?
Mhm.
And once I narrowed that down, I was able to go ahead and delegate certain tasks that I was doing, so I can continue doing what I'm good at to continue to grow the business. It is difficult, especially when you're having to continuously be innovative and challenged in the market. But I think as long as you have passion, you will find your way through it.
Very good. Now, as we start to wrap up here, is there a story of an existing client or a past client, you don't need to give the name of it, that really was the aha moment for them regarding your services? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, well, we actually had a very, very large sized client. Everybody's very familiar with them. I won't be able to drop the name now, but
Correct.
he had hired 3 other IT companies to overhaul their network. Well, technically solve a specific problem. They're having a blackout 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Sunday, all day, every day. And so they hired these 3 other companies. 2 of them said they don't even want to touch it. The other one said they don't even know where to begin. And so they were kind of desperate at this point, and we were referred to them. So over the phone, they said, "Hey, can you come take a look at this and fix it?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely, we can definitely fix it." And he goes, "How do you know? You haven't even seen it." So we stopped by. It took us about 4 days to do a survey to figure out what's going on, and we ended up giving him a proposal on it. It was very, very expensive, and the client had some hesitations on moving forward because of the cost. And I made him a guarantee that I think no other company really would have been able to. I said, "If this doesn't fix your issue, we will give you 100% refund, and you keep everything." And
Good.
that's, I think, where, yeah, you saw the confidence in us.
That's awesome. And for you to be able to say that is powerful in itself. Enzo, thank you so much, man. Can you provide our listeners a way to get a hold of you, your website, your phone number?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can visit our website at itxsolutions.com. You can reach me directly, my personal cell phone, where my wife reaches me at. It's a 407-808-2362. And my email is at ezenuni, Zenuni, at itxsolutions.com.
Enzo, thank you so much for, taking time out of your busy schedule to share your business, your practices with our listeners, and hopefully we can have you back again in the near future.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Didier. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to First Media Consulting Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe today. To nominate a business you would like to recommend to be on our show, go to firstmediaconsulting.com or call. Thank you for listening.